Debate Amongst Friends would like to send our thoughts and prayers to the people impacted over recent events this weekend in Las Vegas. We would like to have a moment of silence for those impacted by the terroristic acts of violence. Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, FS1 goes low on the Knicks, and the NBA drafting up a new plan for the All-Star game. NFL games of the week, including the losses of our Super Bowl contenders from last season, and one team remains unbeaten, how their stars are making it happen on and off the dance floor. WWE SmackDown leading up to Hell in a Cell and more starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to Debate Among Friends live on YouTube. This is episode 74 of the sports podcast on October. Yes, we're in October, ladies and gentlemen. October 4th, 2017. I am your host, the Professor John. By my side, the usurper of reality, handling out dosage like he's my dude out on the corner. It's the Doc. How you doing tonight, sir?
Blue Magic, sir, apparently is a brand name.
You live by it.
I stand by it, and that's what I'm going to give to people. I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I mean, I'm happy because a certain team won the other day, so, I'm kind of feeling myself today. But I'll talk about that later on during my final thoughts. But we have a plethora of stuff to talk about tonight, and he's in the house. You know him, you love him, except for Chris, but he's here in the studio. It is the Duke. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am great. Not fine by far, but ever so better than most. How are you?
Well, you know me, I'm always trying to be the host with the most and be funky like a monkey.
Ticks and all.
That's good. That's great. That was great. That was great. That was so great. But we do have a jam-packed show. A lot of controversy this week.
But we live for controversy, sir.
Typically controversy creates cash. We know this. We know this to be a fact. And I have to imagine that FS1 went full-blown controversy to create cash. Not for the Knicks, but against the Knicks. In an effort to pump themselves up.
Oh, they pumped something up, and it wasn't themselves. It was definitely the ire of James, I want to be a rock star Dolan.
I'm pretty disappointed in this.
I'm not. And you heard me talk about this a lot before. The New York Knicks organization is a joke. They can't be taken seriously because whenever they make one strong move, they make 10 stupid moves. And they look like clowns at the end. Because the team doesn't work well, and then the stuff off the court doesn't make things any better either with the whole Charles Oakley that happened last year. And I'm not even want to talk about Isaiah Thomas. That's just totally different. But for those that don't know, there were some subway trains that got remodeled.
Yeah, big time.
And these remodeling, this remodeling job had words on this. It had certain nicks on there, but it had words on the trains as well too. Well, these words weren't really voices, talking about passion, commitment, family. Never forget where you came from. Before I
But I
grow up,
mean,
it was words based off the people, and we love the people. Have the millions
millions.
of the Doc fans chanting his name every single week here on YouTube. But these are Knicks fans. We are ravenous when it comes to criticizing our own team. And I've been on record criticizing my team as vicious than most. But what they did, that was just yes. Yes.
I mean, can I just say, I mean,
let's just talk about the main picture from all the articles.
Hold on, don't say it yet.
Don't say it yet.
Don't say it yet. Let's build it up just a little bit more. Sticks and stones usually may break bones, but words typically don't hurt. But it's the picture associations with the words here and how it's plastered right in the middle in Nick colors. Yes. Classic Nick colors too. Yes. Like, I mean, these are classic Nick colors.
The orange and blue, man. Orange and blue.
And if the people haven't seen it, of course, you can definitely look up the picture of these particular Knicks too in question.
Yes.
And the
I just Googled it.
And that's it. The two people, think about it, it's the two people who are in the picture, the words in the middle of the picture, on the train, intentionally for you to see it. Now, John Gotti, the word hopeless, smack down in the middle. Between Joakim Noah and is that the guy who just signed the deal Tim Hardaway Jr. on this train.
While I agree with other Knicks fans that it's hopeless for us to compete for a title with Joakim Noah playing the way that he is, with the injuries and then the drug suspension.
This will make you do more drugs.
Them pushing this concept for the world to see like this, because I mean, despite how badly our basketball team is, New York is still the mecca of basketball.
This team is not a bad team right now.
Yes. And the Duke is just pulling up these pictures, and there's a picture with KP with the word hopeful, which is true. And inside of the train, they had things like, sit here if you blame Carmelo, sit here if you blame, Phil. Like,
no one. Yeah.
Like, of course, like, come on, guys. Come on.
That's
like,
sad,
and while I found great joy of laughing at my own pain, like, I know it's a Bush League thing to do. Doc and Duke knows that it's a Bush League thing to do. The American people knows that it's a Bush League thing to do. And they had to immediately apologize because the New York front office were absolutely furious.
Absolutely.
Furious. Within reason. And this is the first time in a while they are upset for the right reasons.
And I really think they're not a bad team, and I think that's where it's kind of rough because I feel like with Carmelo, the team was more hopeless because they didn't have a direction, but without Carmelo, they can kind of build around KP. Obviously, they have a plethora of forwards and bigs that they can play at different times. They can utilize some great matchups against some teams. For example, the Knicks played Senor October's Nets last night
Yes, we did in a losing effort.
in a losing effort.
Much to
But
enjoy.
when you look at the scoring sheet, KP 15-5, Tim Hardaway Jr. 17-7,
Yes.
Courtney Lee added 12, Michael Beasley 8-10, Enes Kanter 17-3, Hernan Gomez 6-10. So I mean, it shows that hey, they might not even need Joakim Noah, because I don't think Joakim Noah is going to bring them any of this. Personally, I don't think he's going to be able to contribute. I think his career is pretty much done. He should be amnestied at this point, a la Andrew Bogut.
Princess Peach.
But Princess Peach, indeed. Joakim Noah is just not the player he was in previous seasons.
And by previous seasons, we're talking about, I believe,
five to 7 years ago.
I think it's like the candidate.
Yeah, fine, 4 to 6 years ago. If we're talking technicalities, 4 to 6 years ago.
I'm excited for my next team. You heard Doc alluded to the stack of big men. I'm going to say something very bold. We might have one of the best young front courts in the NBA.
Agreed. I can agree with that.
For the upcoming years. With raw talent, with a potential superstar, with some okay veteran presence.
If the $1 million question is going to be, can they hold on to him?
If the Knicks don't try to push the superstar agenda and try to bring in somebody who's damaged goods, like the Knicks would trade away young assets for somebody like Al Horford. You know what I mean? Like, which is a terrible move, but Dolan just thinking about the money.
If they do that,
he would
will
give
burn
up
my Knicks jersey.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they look for these stars.
No, Doc, you don't understand. Look me in the eye when I am talking to you. I will burn my jersey. I do not like Al Horford. I did not have him on my top 5 centers, and he still isn't on my top 5 centers.
If he's even a center.
There's no such thing as centers anymore.
Exactly.
No such thing.
But I mean, I'm just saying, it's like, I'm just telling you, like, as long as they don't feel like they need to go out, even though there's nobody really on the market, as long as they don't feel like they need to go out and get somebody, they should be fine, But this whole idea of FS1, it's really a joke.
They was just pouring, to use the Doc phrase, the salt into the wounds. Especially with the trade of Carmelo Anthony out to OKC, which I still feel like we still got some pretty good pieces because we did get Andre Roberson.
No, you didn't get Andre Roberson.
That's what I said. I was like, we didn't get Andre Roberson, so I think we got some pretty good pieces.
Oh, okay. Oh my God!
It was meant to sound exactly the way it's.
Yeah, I can't wait till my final thought. But I think Enes Kanter and Doug McDermott is a great addition because Doug McDermott can kind of play that 3 with Michael Beasley as they can kind of interchange, and then you still have Kanter, you have Hernan Gomez, you got KP, you still have Kyle Quinn, who's a tough guy, you know what I mean, somebody who can do some grinding. But I mean, I think the Knicks are gonna be fine. I really do believe they're gonna be a 40+ win team. I don't care what anybody says.
I can see a 40+. I can see a 40-win team. I can see us being in the playoffs. I did say that.
7 or 8. I agree. I definitely agree. And with the emergence of super teams, of course, we'll move on shortly. But with the emergence of super teams, you always have to imagine
one super team in the East.
This is true. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a semi-super team in Boston. It's semi.
No,
it's not.
It's not because people already ripped them off.
Yeah, Dwayne Wade drained the cat.
If there's the definition of a super team means that it could challenge for the top prize. If they are not even in the conversation to win the NBA championship, they are not a super team. They're
But
a
even
good
at this,
team, but they're not super. They don't have that S on the chest like happy Cam Newton towel.
hilarious. But even just thinking about the West now, of course, you have to give credit to OKC for getting Carmelo, even though they gave up Enes Kanter, which is big, and McDermott to me is big. I would have definitely tried to unload Robeson in this situation, but I can understand you not wanting him.
Chris,
Um,
Chris, we're gonna
uh,
stop the show early because I don't know what he was drinking. What are you drinking, sir?
well, if you really want to know, Harvest Patch Shandy by this beer that I can never ever pronounce. Lingen
Leinenkugel.
Leinenkugel. It's like Matt Leinart, but
Oh
Kugels.
gosh, I don't think they're gonna give us a check now.
Oh,
Scott is
But the
not
reason
happy
why,
right now. We're not getting a check because of that. You botched it.
hilarious. But the
Okay.
I've
reason
got to
why,
stop by the green room more often.
oh my
Wait,
God.
wait. And Steve just told us that trending worldwide on Twitter is Botchamania. It's all your fault, sir. Dang it!
He said Matt Leinart. Leinenkugel.
Leinenkugel. Oh my gosh. Let's keep going. Live TV.
But speaking of super teams, clearly the NBA has decided to kind of give the people those street ball games that we never get a chance to see, but we always hear about for the All-Star game. I mean, you think about it, this could turn into those street ball games.
It's
Those
basically now
scrimmage
a
games.
pickup game.
Right. This could turn into something. Could turn into something good.
But
It's
before
gonna be friends.
before we talk about everything like that, let's talk about the elephant in the room with this.
LeBron and Steph might choose the teams.
No, no, no. In fact,
Who's the other?
they're probably going to try to warp the storyline to make it be like Kyrie and LeBron. They're going to do
Of
something
course.
to try to sell cash, but I'm not talking about that.
Of
The
course.
reason why they chose to change the format suck.
Wow.
The East suck. The top 20
Basically,
players in the league are all in the Western Conference.
so basically, it's kind of what I told the Duke off stream. They'll probably wind up just being the Warriors versus the Cavs.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, because if LeBron get a chance to choose, he's gonna choose KD. If he's not first off the board, he's second off the board.
Or he might pick Westbrook.
He might pick Westbrook. That's true. I think LeBron will probably pick
Well, okay,
Chris.
let's use this as a hypothetical scenario. Steph
Mhm.
and LeBron, they're team captains. Steph gets first
Mhm.
choice. He chooses KD. You're
Right.
saying that LeBron would choose Well, LeBron gets the first pick and he chooses Westbrook. So
Mm.
you're saying that you still want Steph and KD to be together?
No, you just said you just said Steph gets the first pick. He's going to choose KD.
Well,
I mean, of course,
Because I'm
LeBron
trying
gets
to
the
think
first.
if LeBron gets the first pick, like who would he choose between Westbrook
He's
or
gonna
KD?
He's going to choose KD.
He should choose KD.
Okay.
I don't know that he will.
Okay, that's
Yes.
what I want to hear. He should
Yeah.
choose KD.
He
Why
should.
wouldn't Why wouldn't
Well,
he?
because again, the only reason that he wouldn't is if he did pick Westbrook or Kyrie, someone that he is, already a little more familiar with and knows that he could probably vibe with.
But this
on
is
the court.
this might just be. I mean, this is going to be for fun. This might be. This might
It's
be an
never
opportunity.
fun.
This
It's
might
never.
be. This might be one of those opportunities where these guys are like, man, I always wanted to play for this guy. So you're going to see somebody like Anthony Davis get picked early. You're going to see,
If he's not injured.
you know, exactly, of course.
True.
You're going to see Giannis get picked early, the Greek freak who dominated the All-Star game last year, I believe.
He did.
You know what I mean? Like, those are the guys that you might pick because you want to play with them. I'm hoping that Lonzo Ball isn't the first pick.
Like I said, I doubt it. You're gonna want to go for your top scorers, and not to take anything away from those guys, but again,
And,
it's about who you potentially will have chemistry with on the court.
and they might
Not-
even they might even give them a shallow pool of players to choose from. You might not even have access to all the players in the league.
And that very well could be the case as well. But at the same time, if when they switch it to this whole two-team captains thing, it gets a little more political. Because going back to the whole KD Westbrook thing, they're not going to end up on the same team. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. Because you're going to want them to go ham on each other.
You also have to keep in mind that certain players might not want to participate.
Mm-hmm.
That's also something that, they might not want to participate.
Or, if I find out whatever, who the team captains are early enough, I might start trying to politic myself to whatever side I want to be on.
Basically.
True. I just see LeBron choosing all of his friends, many of his friends as possible. So he's going to want to play with Carmelo. He's going to want to play, with those guys, Chris Paul, and you know what I mean? Like, he's going to try to choose his friends as early and often as possible. So that's just the way I see it here. But I definitely agree with the Professor John Gotti, the King of RNG, that they really do want to protect the image of the East because it's just not as strong. And you're going to see guys like Giannis really take over the East and some of these younger guys. And that's why I kind of feel like the 76ers are really going to make their presence known this year.
I still have the 76ers being my dark horse. I feel like now the process is going to benefit.
And I trust and respect the process. I trust it. I think that it's a good look. But as far as the All-Star game, hopefully this is a process that we can trust. I feel like it's gonna blow up in their face somehow, like everything else. But
it's kind of an oxymoron.
Well,
trust the system is gonna blow up in your face.
The NFL, now takes this approach to their All-Star game.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So, it's kind of working now. It kind of, creates some.
But they don't use active players.
Scenarios.
I think they use Hall of Famers to pick the teams, though.
Yes.
That would have made a great. That would have been a.
Deion Sanders and Jerry Rice.
I think.
Is the king
that's perfect. That would have been perfect.
I'm talking about the whole, NFC versus AFC kind of Pro Bowl. There's no such thing as that anymore.
Right. Those two Hall of Famers choose the team. Like, that would have been epic for the NBA. Could you imagine, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and freaking David Robinson or, freaking
Magic.
Yeah, Magic. Well, Magic. I don't know about Magic because, I don't know about that.
I think that's a conflict of interest by itself.
It's a conflict. Yeah, it's a conflict. Maybe Kevin McHale or somebody like that. Maybe choosing it. Somebody like that.
Kevin McHale's gonna pick James Harden number one.
He might not, because I think James Harden is the reason why he got fired. So he might not. And I'm just being honest.
Look, if we were to go, the whole Hall of Fame or even potential future Hall of Fame route, I would love to see Jordan and Kobe as opposing coaches.
That would be interesting.
That would be must-see TV.
That would be good.
Because as much as we would love to see who they'll pick, I really want to see which one of them will try to jump onto the floor to play.
True. That's true.
Because if their team is losing and they know they could bring the team back, that itch is there.
True. It's true.
Hey, look, Kamish, if you ever get that idea popping up into your head in the near future, holla at me.
Like, all you see is Kobe is like, okay, I need a 30-second timeout. Sit down, everyone. You all suck. I'm going into the game right now. I'm going to win this game for us. But Kobe, you're
fourth
quarter
quarter
like,
is nothing but the
care.
two of them squaring off.
I'm just saying, like, that right
it's
there.
It's a good point.
Oh,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's a positive nostalgic feeling instead of
Jordan
when Gober came back.
True. I could understand. Jordan, Kobe, and quote-unquote LeBron on the court at the same time. That would be pretty sweet.
Just saying.
It could be a way for Kobe and Jordan to teach LeBron how to be a fourth quarter clutch guy.
And I mean, we're definitely going to get to some fourth quarter clutches in the next segment. That's a great segment. But I think
Shots fired.
LeBron would definitely learn some lessons in that game. Um,
Always got to
but
add to the toolbox, man.
absolutely. But that's a great segue to really move to the NFL now that you mentioned it, because really we had a few fourth quarter games here. We really wanted Senor October to be on the show because my Tampa Bay Buccaneers played his New York Football Giants, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I turned this game off. Um, I was, you know, making my way downtown, and basically I literally sat there, came back to the house. I turned the game on, watched it. After let me reverse. I changed my brakes last weekend for the first time by myself. The doc turning into the mechanic.
Uh-oh.
He dominates. And
Oh
I turned
goodness.
I went to church where I do the cameras at my church, and then I got home to a Bucks game that was already underway. They had a 3-and-out. Bucks came out firing on all cylinders. We really came out good. You know, Kicker missed an extra point that kind of made me a little angry. Then we went up 10-0. I think we went up 13-0, 13-3, 13-10, 16-13. And at that point, I was like, well, what the heck is going on? But what really made me want to turn the game off, guys, is when Eli Manning ran for a touchdown.
I'm not gonna lie. I was near tears when I seen Eli Manning,
But I,
Mister. What? How did that happen, guy?
but I think we talked
Stumble
about
into
it.
the end zone for for a touchdown. I'm like,
I think we
what?
talked about it though in the beginning of the season, maybe when they were playing the Giants and he was running those sprints, and I said, "Man, he looks like he's in the best shape of his life."
Yep.
And I mean, that run that he did, it looked like the best run of his career, and it just happened to be against the Bucks. But we wound up getting the W in the fourth quarter, which LeBron could learn from, I guess, Jameis on how to get a win in the fourth quarter.
Shots
um,
fired.
but we were able to get the W in the fourth quarter. So I guess the question I have, which I really wanted to ask October, and we're going to talk about a panic meter here. The Giants at 0-4 in a tough division where you got the Eagles who are soaring, you got the Cowboys who are,
Also
and then
ran.
you got the Redskins. They're just there.
They're just there.
Do the Giants need to panic at this time?
Absolute.
0-4.
Absolutely. 0-4.
Brandon Marshall's not turning out to be what I had expected. I thought they were going to dominate him in Odell
No.
Beckham here.
No,
He is not doing
he's looking
much.
like an old man out there.
Yeah, he's looking pretty rough, man.
He's
And
looking
I
like an old
mean,
man. He's dropping passes.
he did drop
You know,
passes. Can
Odell
I
is kind of doing Odell, I guess you can say.
can I say also that I know the Bucks don't have a great offensive line by any means, but so much money is spent on the Giants D line for them not to be.
The
They,
biggest bust of the
it,
season so far.
yeah, like Olivier, what's his name? Oliviera,
Olivia
olive
Vernon.
oil,
Wow, olive oil.
olive, olive,
Oh no! I
Oliveira,
I
Vernon.
hope Senior October is listening because I can't wait for him to be on next week just so he can comment on what he just said. That is so funny.
I mean, JPP, Snacks Harrison, all those guys, like they got paid a lot of money, and
They got paid. They're
I just don't feel like, And don't get me wrong, the Bucks defensive line and a lot of defensive lines aren't that great in the NFL.
no,
But when you get paid the amount of money that these guys are getting paid, you expect a little bit more sacks, more pressure, and it just wasn't happening last night.
no, unless you're the Broncos or the Kansas City Chiefs, you're suck.
True. True indeed. So on a scale, I mean,
Oh, and
let's
the
just
Rams. I'm
say,
sorry.
well, the Rams are 3-1.
Yeah, that's why I said their defense is like
you're right.
those two defense are top three.
And Aaron Donald is just a beast. That's really what it is. They really need to pay that man. He deserves to get the money because he does disrupt every
He
play.
disrupt
Uh,
everything. But
so the Giants need to panic.
the Giants definitely need to panic. It's time for them to start grabbing the life vest and get ready. Bad right now.
I mean, if you had to single out a problem for Senior October's Giants, I mean, who's the problem here? Eli played pretty well. The offensive line held up.
This
I mean,
defense. The defense don't tackle. Their defense, to put into retrospect, Bucks fan.
I am.
Their defense was how your Bucks were a few years ago, where no one couldn't tackle.
Yeah, that was very frustrating. I would say that was closer to the. I would say 2 years ago.
It was either they couldn't tackle or they couldn't stick with their man during route running.
I could definitely understand that. I mean, let's look at two different perspectives. So, the Giants, obviously, they definitely need to panic. We also had the two Super Bowl contenders who both took a loss this weekend, shocking fashion.
They have.
The Patriots and the Falcons both lost this week. More shocked, the Patriots losing to the Panthers or the Falcons losing to the Bills?
Well, I'll start off with this. For those that don't know, I enjoy lighting a fire underneath athletes.
Sure.
By calling them out, knowing that they're going to come out and play, unless it was Luol Deng that was totally just out of nowhere.
Oh, wow, Luol Deng.
Or Luol Clang, as I used to call him.
He just hit a 3 somewhere.
He really has. He's like, Doc, I'm coming for you. You too, Professor. But the more surprising of the two, I gotta say the Bills beating the Falcons. That's the more surprising of the two. New England's defense isn't as dominant as it seems, and they usually pick it up towards the end of the season. True. Not so much in the beginning of the season. All 4 games they gave up, I think, like 400 yards to every single quarterback. 300 or 400 yards to every single quarterback. That's a problem.
And I mean, when you have happy towel Cam out there.
I mean, it was happy towel
in rare fashion.
Panthers, and it was and it was Tom Brady's wife yelling on the other side.
Oh my God! So, panic. Did the Patriots begin to panic?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's the Patriots.
They lost a game. They got blown out by the Chiefs, or I guess I don't know if we want to say blown out. They come and they lose
they got blown out by the Chiefs.
Happy face Cam.
They got blown out by the Chiefs. Let's call it what it is.
Which you mentioned that Cam might have been losing a step. I didn't forget about that little comment you made.
And I did that on purpose.
You sly Professor, you.
Of course, and it worked, didn't it?
It did. Okay. It did. I mean, but why did you feel like he might have taken a dive in his performance? Just a quick.
Who, Cam or Tom?
Cam. I think we said Tom. Tom just being
because
Tom.
Cam was still coming back from injury. He was still coming back from surgery for his back injury.
Got it.
So this is like the first game where you see Cam being Cam.
Cam being Cam. And he gave a little Black Power celebration this weekend.
Yes, he did. Which I know someone on this panel wanted to talk about, but that's going to be his final thoughts because he has a rant.
That could have been good. I didn't even think about that. Could have definitely plugged it in. It is too late though. But speaking of someone, the Sergeant Duke himself, your Titans have shocked me again.
I do not know why.
Not in a good way.
No. In fact, they shocked them in 2 ways that are both there.
Because last week they played very great, and I wish you were on the show last week. This week,
We sung their
Mariota
praises.
got hurt. Yeah, Mariota got hurt. Mariota is a scrambling quarterback. I want to start the conversation with that. Marcus Mariota from Hawaii, is a scrambling quarterback. The Titans have signed Brandon Weeden. Got to be at least 77 years.
Oh,
Came out of college at 45 with a hairline of a 60-year-old man.
I mean, he came out of college with the LeBron James haircut. That's all we're trying to say.
Oh my God, yeah, like.
But you know what? He takes his Geritol. He drinks his Ensure. He's good.
More Ovaltine, please.
What was that? What were those two guys that the WWE used to use to make fun of Hogan and Macho Man? Remember the geriatrics?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God. Brandon Weeden, though, sir? Come on. Everybody's got to be screaming for Cap. Come on.
Let's open up the floor for him. Duke, talk to Doc and Prof about this signing.
Okay. I have said this numerous times, both on and off the show. All right. The Tennessee their front office is about the equivalent of the Knicks front office. All right.
Wow.
I went there. Wow.
He did go there.
They just can't get right to save their lives.
The low blows tonight.
And every time that they start getting on the right path again, they do something to just jack it all up. I don't know if maybe they have the devil working in the front office and he's just cutting all kinds of deals. I don't know. But I'm just like, dude, really? That's why I don't even get hopeful going into the seasons anymore. All right. If something happens, that's great. It's like a Christmas present. But if not, I wasn't expecting anything. So it's not that much of a disappointment.
Okay.
Brandon Weeden, though?
Huh? So are you happy with the signing, or do you wish they would have definitely took Colin Kaepernick a little bit more seriously? And we're only using Cap's name because if you look
he's
at
a scrambling quarterback.
Well, not just the fact that he's a scrambling quarterback, but he has better stats than any other quarterback that was being considered for a backup role.
I think people would have accepted this more had the Tennessee Titans taken a chance on RG3 than Brandon Weeden.
I will completely agree with you there.
Which is crazy because Brandon Weeden also played for the Browns.
Right.
Okay. I think that Cap is still a little poison in the well right now. Hence why he still has not been signed to a team. But I definitely would not have gone with Brandon Weeden. I mean, again,
Who's your backup right now, though?
Who else do they have? They have Chris.
Man, that guy.
Supposed to help me out with that, and they talked about it today too. It was someone else. Go ahead, keep going. I'll mention it soon.
Oh, they have Matt Castle.
That's who it was. Thank you.
They have Matt Castle. I mean, honestly, I would have been okay if they would have signed a young guy. I just think that Brandon Weeden is where I'm having a big time problem.
And I mean, honestly, I can completely see that. They have already gone through essentially their rebuilding time. This is when they're supposed to be going back on the upswing. Mm-hmm. And to do something like that, it just sets them back even further. And I know, the official word from the front office was that, this is just a precaution. Mariota will be back and, blah, 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 whatever.
Blasphemous!
But, but I mean, this is not what builds confidence in your team, is making signs or even trades like this one. And I could see if maybe there was some potential there that the rest of us aren't seeing. But really, honestly, like you're right, he just doesn't even fit in with the play style of the current offense. So,
but neither does Matt Castle though. So
I mean, yeah, and that's true. But at
yeah.
least Castle had the benefit of knowing you're going to be riding the bench and having the preseason excuse me, off-season practices to get more acclimated with the team.
Now
And
let me add, that's a great point. And I wish Jay Rich was here because I needed him to hear that point. And I'm just gonna go on a quick separate topic that we didn't talk about here. And I said I was gonna give it a few more weeks, but I just feel an itch that just needs to be scratched. How do we feel at this time about Jay Cutler?
Is that a serious question? Did you
I
really
really
have
have
that
that
question written down in your notepad?
I really have that written down in my notepad. Like seriously, should the Dolphins have just signed Cap?
Of course.
Jay Cutler. Oh, remember? I mean, I think Jay Rich's main argument was that, hey, Jay knows the plays. He can come in off the stuff, the out of the studio and back into our lineup here. And then he runs the Wildcat and doesn't even run a route. Cap would have ran the heck out of that route,
That would have been
knowing that
open.
he would have been open. Um,
Give
I
me
just
the
want to
ball,
bring
give me the
that up.
ball, give me the ball.
I thought it was interesting. Mike Mularkey, the Titans coach, did say that TJ Yates had some experience with their offense, but he's in Atlanta, of course. And the reason why they went with Brandon Whedon is because he was a friend and he's familiar with the offense. Are we buying or selling that?
Of course I'm selling. I feel like now they can't say it's because of Kaepernick's effort on the field and what he brings to. Now they have to use that one. Yes, he knows the play style. He understands the playbook.
It's pretty sad. It's really,
It is
really
what it
sad,
is.
and I really do hope that. Last thing I would say is, Eli Manning's getting pretty old. I mean, it would be nice to get Cap in there. I'm just saying for next season and beyond.
Wait, don't
Josh
they have
McCown.
what's his name? He used to play in Minnesota.
I don't even know.
No, not him. They have as a backup for New York.
Probably nobody that's really good.
Was it G?
They did have Gino, but come on, it's Gino. I mean, they do have. I think they
I
do
see what
have
you did
Gino,
there. I see what you did there.
but I mean, it sounds like New York is going to need a feature quarterback. They do have Gino. Um, I mean, both the Jets and the Giants should really consider Cap
Well, the
as
Jets
their.
been in a quarterback, crapshoot since before Mr. Butt Fumble became Mr. Butt Fumble.
Well, I'll say yes and no. And the only reason I say that, as a young doc, who grew up in the mean streets of Jersey City, watching Papa Doc yell at the TV at the Jets when they had the likes of Vinny Testaverde, they had the Chad Penningtons. It really wasn't until Mark Sanchez got there, maybe after his third year, that they really started to decline. Um, but I give them all the credit in the world for really giving an effort. They just haven't been able to find it. But Cap would be a Cap would be a great person to plug in there. And that's all I got to say about that.
I feel like there'll be a lot more exposure, kind of like the whole TiVo media, with Cap being out there as well too. That's also something else that needs to be put in consideration. Like let's be honest, it wasn't about the fans' reaction. Like Like,
It wasn't because
in the words of Vince McMahon, I don't give a damn what you think.
well, when you think about it, I think somebody mentioned it. It was on a YouTube I was watching, where he said, the NFL basically monetizes the military. If you have somebody sitting or kneeling during the national anthem, that kind of messes up the advertisement for people to join the military, because you have somebody in your company who's quote unquote, disrespecting the flag. Um, but at the same time, it's just an interesting stance. Um, and I'm kind of hoping that people would just kind of not get over it, but basically adapt and adjust
Yes.
to people having the freedom of speech and freedom of, I guess, in the situation of action, to do what they need to do to spread awareness, whether that be on the field or play 360. And speaking of moving on and getting over things, the Chiefs are the last undefeated team. Alex Smith is playing out of his mind.
This playing like an MVP right now.
Which he usually does. I mean, he's throwing 70 something odd percent per year.
Yep.
He's very accurate. I think the one thing is they usually crap out at the end of the year.
Yes. Or especially the postseason.
Postseason 23 basketball, baby. Yeah.
No, it's about football.
Sorry.
But I was actually thinking, if you want to talk about, first quarter, Chiefs defense.
The Chiefs defense is doing pretty well.
They're doing very well. And second to that is the Broncos defense, which mothers and make people just feel terrible.
How about that?
Well, that was
Chris.
interesting. It looks like Chris decided to mess with the doc out of nowhere. But as he is reconnecting to the call, Duke, what do you think about the Chiefs season?
I mean,
where do you see? What do you think will be their
honestly, right now I don't see one. But again, we're 4 games in. Eventually they are going to come to a team that will, I don't necessarily want to say stump them per se, but a team that they can't steamroll through.
Yes.
And I feel like if that doesn't shake their confidence, they might end up with a near perfect season. But
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, the team that I would have expected to challenge them, they've already beaten. Now it's just the first game of the season, but the Patriots were supposed to be the team that was supposed to be going back to the Super Bowl, as per many analysts. I mean, the Chiefs kind of made them look famous out there.
Not in a good way.
Internet famous.
I mean, what do we think about that?
I don't know, man. Denver might do it. Again, it is going to be that team that they weren't even expecting to come out and play like that. And that's the point, that if they lose, it'll shake their confidence. It'll throw the whole rest of the season out of whack. But if they get over that hump, again, they could roll through with a near perfect season.
I think it's going to be rough, especially with the loss of Derek Carr in Oakland too. that's definitely going to impact the Chiefs. I think they'll probably lose to an NFC team first. Just looking through, or a team like the Steelers. The Steelers always play people
The
tough.
Steelers are dangerous too, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't talk about them as much.
I think it's because
Well,
they play
they've
so.
been dangerous for so long.
Yeah, they play so technically sound, um, and they've always had a traditional way of playing that, it's not flashy, which is why somebody like Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, like, they kind of stick out because they're flashy the way they play.
Yes.
I mean, they're no Odell Beckham Jr., but they're flashy. Like they make big plays, and the Steelers, they've never been a big play team. They're more of a grit, a grind and grit, Gigi, so to speak. A little Gigi there. Um, but the
I'm so
Chiefs,
upset with you. Why would you say that on there?
uh, the Chiefs, however, they're playing some real innovative, creative football. They have a lot of big, big play guys. And I guess the next person you'd want to really bring up is Kareem Hunt, the rookie who leads in touchdowns, I think in yards at this time.
Yep.
Kind of sprung out of nowhere after Spencer Ware went down. I mean, what do you guys think about Kareem Hunt this far? I really wish the Bucks would have drafted him, of course.
I mean, problem for opposing defenses. He's the kind of back that down back and he keeps grinding and grinding and grinding, and then suddenly he breaks out for a 57-yard touchdown run.
You want to know what's so special about him? Just watching him on Monday, he does not waste a second in the hole.
Nope. He
Like,
sees it and he just got.
yeah, it's almost like he really just trusts and believe that it's gonna be there, and he just runs straight through it. And it's really amazing to see. Where when you look at somebody like Le'Veon Bell, he waits 5 to 10 seconds, thinks about it, reads a book, takes a poop on the grass, and then hits the hole.
Writes his haiku.
Yeah, it's like I'm I am going to run. Run I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Like it's just like whatever. But
I don't think that's
with
how
Kareem,
haiku works, but I get what you're saying.
it's not. I just threw it out there. I think it's what 75721 6 something like that. I don't know. Just making that up, but I'll just continue on.
33.3 repeating, of course.
Repeating, of course. 13.21 gigawatts. um, Kareem, he really plays quality minutes. He does. Him and another running back do share the carries. But I think with somebody of his caliber who can run, who can catch, and then they still have some of the big playmakers on the outside.
Yes.
I do think that they're going to go far in the playoffs, pending any injuries.
I believe so as well too. It's say that they're Super Bowl caliber right now, even though everyone's kind of christening them. I kind of tell people to pump the brakes on that.
Yeah.
But they're having a great. Their hats off to Andy and the way that he organized this team. They done nothing but execute, or as we like to say at debates, came out there and neutralized the opposing defenses and offenses.
It's so funny.
And I know we wasn't going to talk about it, but I mean the return of Justin Houston has been a big lift for them, even though they don't have
True.
Tamba Hali
True.
in the lineup. I mean, Justin Houston's looking like a monster out there.
I mean, their secondary is playing very, very well.
And that's
Even
without Eric Berry.
Eric Berry, yeah, that's what I was gonna say there. So I mean, definitely. But it's so funny you mentioned execution because there was an execution of a touchdown dance by Travis Kelce.
Yes, it's now deemed the dance of Kelsey.
I mean, where he had the Titus brand out there dancing with him.
$1 million, $1 million.
I mean, it was pretty rough out there, but it was pretty good. No, it was pretty good. But they have the one thing about it is that they're having so much fun.
Yes.
They're having a lot of fun, and you have to credit Andy Reid because Andy Reid's always had pretty solid teams. They could just never get over the hump of the playoffs, and that's always stunk. I mean, but what kind of grade are we giving him for that dance, though?
I'll give him a B.
I mean, he was pretty fluid. I mean, clearly he's done that before.
Of course, that's what I said. I give him a B. Like, it was solid. It was solid.
I mean, it was a great touchdown catch. So, I mean, it deserves something.
Exactly.
I give it a 10.
A 10.
10.
I'm going to put a 10. Oh, that's great. That's gold right there. That is gold.
How about yourself, sir? What would you get that touchdown?
I think a 9. You know, it was pretty weird. I didn't know he was going to break it out, but it was pretty weird. But ultimately, the touchdown catch was definitely pretty good. So one more topic with the Chiefs. Because obviously there was some controversy in the offseason and still continues on today. Even though Alex Smith is playing some great football, there is a young quarterback that the Chiefs drafted with the, I believe, 10th or 12th overall pick in the draft by the name of Patrick Mahomes. That's Mahomes. And there's rumors, again, and mind you, this happened to Alex Smith before, where he's been traded for the younger guy. Like, they tried the old guy, the young guy is faster, he's stronger, and hey, he's a 60-minute football player, baby. Does Alex Smith, if they don't make the Super Bowl, does he get the axe?
I feel like they should let it ride with him this season.
I mean, is this a Steve Young Montana all over again?
I mean, we can't really say that. Let's look at the championship pedigree that happened before the change. That's kind of a that's a best case scenario. We're not talking about a multi-time, Super Bowl winner. We're talking about Alex Smith.
We're talking about Brett Favre and
Aaron Rodgers. Except, Brett Favre also got a Super Bowl.
I mean, what if Alex is pretty young. I think he's 32, 33 years old. He can still bang out. He can still bang out 2 Super Bowls.
I feel like they should let it ride with him. I feel like, and this was part of the issue with the 40. They just rode the hype train.
They did.
Kind of, bit them in the butt later on. But I feel like if they would have stuck with Alex Smith, who knows what.
True.
True. He's not flashy, but he still gets the job done.
And now
before he got injured. So
now the 49ers have to deal with just having Brandon Hoyer.
Oh, Brian Hoyer. Oh my God.
Brian Hoyer, excuse me. I was still thinking about Brandon Whedon. I combined.
You're more upset about this move than the Duke is.
It's so stupid.
Real Tennessee fans, like, we don't even worry about that kind of stuff, man. Look, I'll hold it out for next season.
Oh my God! But I know,
our season's done.
But I know we have to continue on. We do have some WWE action this weekend with Hell in the Cell. We had SmackDown. We had Raw. We had teasers. We had. Sometimes it seems like spoilers. I just don't like. I just don't
unless
know.
You're part of Game Runners, they kind of frown upon spoilers.
Well, Game Runners spoils itself due to due to lack of participation, which I've talked to Jay Rich about, lack of participation. Um, but one day we're gonna make it live again. We're gonna make it live again.
I'm just happy you didn't say
Um,
the other term.
no, I would never say that because he's an idiot. Um, but SmackDown, I just don't know if they have 15 story writers in the back and they're all writing different stories and just submitting it 10 minutes before the show
Hmm.
with coffee stains on it, pieces of the pages missing, and they're just submitting it and putting it on TV.
I feel like
Only reason I say this because, and I feel like that's wrestling, period, except for NXT, because I feel like NXT has a little bit more sophistication and class,
yes.
which is pretty sad when you think about it.
Well, because they
It
focus
is.
on the wrestling and don't care too much about, you know.
You know, because I'm looking and I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Like, what's happening? You got Rusev, you got Randy Orton, you got Shinsuke. Yeah, I mean, you got some great talent. Like you said, Kevin Owens being allowed to be Kevin Steen earlier, before the show. Shane McMahon has to wrestle. Come on. Shane O'Mac?
He's a hell
Word.
in a cell. What do you expect? Now it has to have Shane now that he's here.
Come on. It's like saying, hey, let's just go bring RVD back so he can jump off something and do a five-star a frog splash just because he's there with
Yeah,
drugs.
but he's always has the problem staying off the.
Hilarious. That's so funny. Um, but I mean, what do we have to look forward to? I mean, I don't even know more than two of the matches for this pay per view. Um, of course, I know the heavyweight title match and the tag team title match, and I think that's the only two that we're really maybe looking forward to. We know Shane's gonna jump off something.
Of
It's
course.
you know, we know. I mean, people are gonna be going through the cages. People are gonna be going through everything. How are they creating value for us, the fans, to even want to watch? Did you see anything on SmackDown that added value to this pay per view this week?
Uh, well, other than the Kevin Owens shaping segment towards the end of the show, I really am going to enjoy Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler. Dolph is trying to be taken more seriously, but kind of trying to mimic so many different wrestling and saying that Bobby Roode is only complete BS. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Roode is a heck of a wrestler. Definitely a graduate of the school of Rick.
Why is Ziggler the intro to the main roster person right now?
Dolph
The Shins
Ziggler is to the main roster like what Tyler Breeze was to NXT.
got it, because Shinsuke went up against Dolph Ziggler also.
Yes,
So is that what we're doing here? You're just gonna
basically. Bobby
feed
Roode's gonna
Ziggler.
win this game, but win this game. Oh gosh, I'm over here watching the NL wild card game, and the Arizona D-backs are up 6-4 against the Colorado Rockies.
Hmm.
In other news, real quickly, now that of course, the Minnesota Lynx is up 70-64 against the Sharks in the Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. Game 5 is the final game of the season. So whoever wins this one wins the championship. So, back to WWE. Bobby Roode will win this match. I think this will be a great match between two great workers. The type of match that Dolph Ziggler deserves to be in. They're both going to elevate each other. If anything else, this is a great opener.
Now, do we know if this is going to be on the card or in the?
This is on the card. They will not put Bobby Roode on the kickoff. they don't want what happened with Austin Aries and the pre-show. Nah. The pre-show
Yep.
match is actually Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, American Alpha 1.1, against your boys, the Hype.
Wow.
So I don't
Wow.
care about that match.
I can understand that.
You mentioned anything else that definitely caught my tag team match. I mean, this is like match number 7 between these two, but crazy antics inside the cage. It's gonna be entertaining.
It is.
It could definitely be match of the night. Like, there's 3 potential matches: Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler, which would be a great day versus the Usos, and Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. And the reason why, because we don't know what kind of spot that's going to happen. Shane's going to jump off the cell. We know this. Or fall off the cell.
True.
Like, my pipe dream moment is Kevin Owens giving Shane McMahon the Steamalizer off the cell. But they can't do that because he'll die.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, you see his son sitting there. Or you see his, he's like, he's flying.
It's funny. It's so funny. What do you think about the AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin match?
I don't care. I don't care because if Baron Corbin wins, okay, more power to him, but we don't care because, he made the worst Money in the Bank cash-in history.
He did.
So it's hard to take him seriously at all.
I hate that they did that.
I would have loved to have it be a triple threat with Ty Dillinger in there. I feel like he deserves to get that kind of push. He was in there, and then they took him out, and now he's the Jason Jordan.
Wow.
Of that storyline. Just in the middle, losing to everyone.
I mean, the only other match, I guess, to talk about, because we're definitely not talking about Randy Orton versus Rusev. That's just stupid. The Women's Championship, Natalya versus Charlotte. Hart versus Flair.
So many. Okay, so first of all, we already had this. This is the time we have this kind of match for a Women's Championship. Natalya and... So this is number 3. The first time it happened at NXT. The time happened and then finally we're having it again. So luckily we will not have Ric Flair and Bret Hart at ringside.
Yeah, we don't want that. No. We don't want that.
No. Everyone's been saying that Carmelo's finally going to cash it in. It's not going to happen. If it didn't happen at SummerSlam, it's not going to happen right now.
I can see her doing that because it's almost the end of the year. She's held it for a while. She has
until Money in the Bank next year. She has plenty of time. Plus they might make her do a Seth Rollins at WrestleMania kind of stuff.
I highly doubt it. I don't know. I think she might cash in.
I feel like it's not time yet.
I mean, it definitely wasn't time for Baron Corbin, but you see how that went.
Well, that because he did what he did. He said about the men and women of the armed services. That's why that happened. It's not because they just didn't trust him. Like, he was riding on a high, but he opened up his mouth and said the wrong things about that kind of buried him. Cena style buried.
Wow, Cena.
Which is ironic because Cena was part of that match.
Yeah, he was. So, I guess, I know we touched on it earlier. The main event, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes, we are in disagreement between
the modern day Maharaja.
Your boy. You actually had Shinsuke winning this match.
They can't bury Shinsuke like this.
It's gonna
They'll
be an easy
bury.
finish.
I think the problem with that is I know they want to do the tour in India and they're trying to expand, but in this situation,
Hmm.
I'm sure India's probably like, we want a champion who can win on his own, not some cheat, some fake imitation, steroid injecting,
Uh oh.
out of shape
Uh oh.
guy claiming
Tell them how you really feel.
to be the modern day Maharaja.
He just likes saying that, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only thing he loves to say. He says it all the time.
I just think it's time for Shinsuke to take over.
I feel
He
like they're
didn't,
gonna have him keep it. He's gonna keep the title until Royal Rumble.
you don't beat John Cena for nothing.
Apparently, in this case, that's what they did. And I feel like this is more Vince doing than people in charge of SmackDown.
Yeah, not really feeling it. They should stop ASAP.
Because Shinsuke will be the first Japanese-born wrestler to hold a major.
And that's going to be great. But I guess at this time they're focusing primarily on India.
Exactly.
Got it. So I mean, we've never done this before, but a pre-score prediction. Oh.
Um, 3. I'll give it a 7.
Just for the book.
I feel like those 3 matches that I mentioned will help elevate the show enough that it'll get a borderline 7. If they choose to make the Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler match into a non-competitive match, it's gonna lose a lot of points. If they have the New Day versus Usos literally just stay in the ring the whole time, it's gonna lose points. And if Shane McMahon doesn't get tossed off the cell or jumped off the cell, then it's gonna go down to like a 4.
Wow. Just looking at it, I'll give it a 7.5 for the same reasons that you just provided. However, I'm interested to see really how some of the non-important matches are rather than the important matches, the Randy Orton versus the Rusev, because those the Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler, the Natalia versus Charlotte Flair, because in the last few pay-per-views, especially the last one, the women's match was one of the better ones.
That because
Some
it was a multiple, title match where it basically turned into a car wreck versus a one-on-one affair.
So I'm hoping that the spots in some of these matches are good. I think what the turning point will probably be for this pay-per-view is probably AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin.
Yes.
I think that'll be the middle ground for how it'll be judged. And that match alone on the card is a solid 7 to 7.5 because of what they did to Corbin.
I can see that.
But anything else you wanted to add about this Hell in the Cell pay-per-view this weekend on WWE Network?
Nope. Either it's going to be highly entertaining or vomit-inducing.
And we always happen to find vomit-inducing things.
Yes, it makes me want to go outside.
Right, right now. The room is closing in on me as we speak. I don't need a glass of water either. Oh God, Justin Long.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness.
That was 2000. Was that 2016 in a nutshell?
Basically, best line of 2016.
Oh God. Um, but I guess we do have some final thoughts to get to.
Well,
I am
we
going.
also got to talk about Raw and how they're attempting so hard to put.
Well, that was kind of going to be a final thought,
Oh,
being that
then
we were
let's
gonna.
let's run with the final
Yeah,
thoughts then. Let's start
I'll go
off
first.
with the.
I'll go first, and
Oh, you want to go first?
because yeah, I think we should just go first and let the Duke finish.
Oh, because he has that ranting.
Yeah, he has a rant. So I was gonna say about Raw. Obviously, you have the teasing of the Shield, which I believe they're going to. I think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't think Roman's going to join. I think they might try to pull somebody else personally. I don't know who that would be. Clearly, the professor didn't like any of my choices earlier. But it could be anybody. I just don't know if Roman's going to join back up with the Shield. And I don't know if it's a good idea for him to join back up because he's over slightly at this point. He beat John Cena. That was the whole idea. Let it ride.
Yes.
On another note, I really like what they're doing with Mickey James, bringing a veteran presence into the title mix. I hope that she does win the title from Alexa Bliss. It would just be a different change of pace, and it would be sweet. In football, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers released Jacquez Smith, which I was pretty shocked about. After we spent all off season kind of waiting for him to rehab, and I think we just signed him to the contract. Doug Martin comes back this week, and we'll be playing against the Patriots tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to. And last, on the hardwood, the newest Houston Rocket, Chris Paul, threw the shade of all shade yesterday as one of Professor John Gotti's star pupil players, Andre Roberson, went for a three-point shot. Chris Paul considered closing out and stopped 20%. He stopped 20% of the closeout, guys. 20%. Waved his hand and said, "Oh, F that." He said, "I'm not running out there. He's not going to make this." In which Roberson didn't. Highlight of the preseason so far. And could be a meme for years to come.
Whole career is a meme.
On you, sir.
I want to send out a big congratulations to last night, and it feel oh so good. And they called it a come from behind victory, and I was actually speaking with Duke last night as we was doing our Rick and Morty. Catch that episode at cap the season finale actually. So where the Yankees were down 0-3 at the top of the first inning. Quick substitution. He was feeling the flustering of the big lights of playoff baseball. He was only 23 years old. It's not like, he's never going to start again for us. It's just we'll see what happens there. But the baby Bombers definitely struck back in the first inning, tying it up, and from there they just kept grinding out the bombs. Aaron Judge hit a shot. DDG hit a heck of a home run. And one of the best things that we have going for us is best bullpens in series against the Cleveland Indians. You have to watch and wait and see what happens. The Cleveland Indians are definitely the best offensive team in baseball. Best run differential right now, but the Yankees are second best. So
Give him the heater, Ricky.
give him the heater, Ricky. Oh my gosh. I can't believe you just said that. Let's see. Video game wise, Injustice introduced their newest character, Adam, into the game. Definitely utilizes the abilities that he has, which is to. Initial thoughts, he's pretty okay. I can see a lot of low tier players using him. A lot of keep away. Definitely pretty frustrating. He's definitely he could potentially be the role of Injustice. A character you can't take seriously, but if you play them online, it might break your stick. That being said, as well too, a bunch of different tournaments happened this past weekend. We actually had one where the Doc's boy Sonic Fox won a Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite tournament, defeating Ray Ray in the grand final. Definitely utilizing his skills in Mortal Kombat and Injustice. And people want to call it playing lame, but that's just the way that this game is played now. Since they have an active tag system, you can basically just tag in whenever you like, even if you're getting comboed to basically break that combo. And that's probably the part of the game that I don't like. Kind of, once you take the combos like a man and survive it so you can switch out. Unlike Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where if you get touched, you'll die. But at least, if you hit the ground, you have a good chance to try to get up and switch over and things like that. But having active switching while you're mid combo is kind of a deep. That's just my personal opinion. Filipino champ is definitely still looking very dominant in a lot of the tournaments that he's been playing, as well as Christopher G, our boy. Definitely look pretty good. They have a lot of great teams. Filipino champ is using a Dormammu set, Dormammu and Jeddah. A lot of people have been using Jeddah in their matchups. So I guess you could say Jeddah is definitely top tier. Characters being used. Ultron as well too. So Jeddah and Ultron are both top tier in this. That's pretty much my final thought.
Duke. Sergeant.
The floor is yours.
But before I get into my love letter over the past few weeks' events, let me first go ahead and say shout out to Puerto Rico. They are kind of the new Katrina right now, and it is most unfortunate. We really need to, while we're worried about global warming and such, we really need to look into some better national disaster relief efforts as far as getting people aid faster and getting them better aid. It's just my opinion, but given all the hurricanes that have recently hit and the damage that they have done, I feel like it's definitely worth looking into. But getting to my little love letter here, I just want to say that to all professional athletes, because this has now transcended the NFL, I just want to have a brief minute to talk about both pride and responsibility. All right. As a veteran who has done multiple combat tours overseas in different theaters, I fully support people's rights to exercise their rights. By all means, use what you have been given to whatever extent you feel like that is. But know that every action has a reaction. and it may not always be the one that you want. Whenever we tune into the Olympics, even if it is, I don't know, we'll say Kazakhstan. If they win, if it is some country that you absolutely do not agree with, do not like, do not value, etc., etc., the one thing that you see is all other players standing for their anthem. Not necessarily because they have to. There's no official rule, at least that I know of, on the Olympic Committee books that says that you have to, but because it is a matter of pride for that country and respect from their neighboring countries competing in this competition with them. I feel like our professional athletes, and even to an extent, some of us as Americans have kind of lost that pride. And I don't really know why. I mean, if you were upset over the election of the recent president, or you're upset over local politics, or you're upset over recent events that have played out in the media, that's fine. I mean, I would expect you to be. We're humans. We have very human reactions to things. But the equivalent of throwing a tantrum on the floor in the middle of Target isn't necessarily the way to go about handling that as adults. I feel like athletes have a large platform to speak their opinions and to get their voices heard. And fine, even if you're third string Timmy, you still have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to start a campaign for things that you are really passionate about. A lot of players nowadays have foundations, or they have some sort of charity that they work in unison with to try to bring about some change for something that they care deeply about. It baffles me that for an issue as big as the ones that are currently being protested by NFL players, that there aren't more of them, or even the players' union itself getting together and coalescing to actually come out with a message and a plan to correct what they see as a perceived wrong. It blows my mind that the extent of this is basically disrespecting the spirit of the country that allowed you to do what you do. And I mean, I don't hold any professional player up to be a rocket scientist, but I like to think that we are all somewhat intelligent individuals, as no one yet wearing pads or a jersey has walked out into traffic and played in the middle of the street. So, you know, even if you aren't that intelligent yourself, hopefully you have people around you who at least one of them are. And it, again, is very surprising to me that for all of the money and all of the status that these players have, something more hasn't happened. You know, we heard the president come out a few weeks ago and basically taunt the NFL and its players into protesting. Not really the right move by our president, but still, again, we as adults who set examples for children or people younger than us shouldn't turn around and then act like those people. If you want to affect change, you need to have a plan, first and foremost. You can't just react. That doesn't change anything. But a plan, and a good one, honestly, it doesn't even have to be a good one. A plan. Hopefully somebody else can pick it up and run with it. But a plan is needed. And, you know, going back to the Doc's boy Cap, I actually said roughly around this time last year that I didn't like the protest. I believe my exact words were, I feel like it is the laziest form of protest because there is nothing to be lost. And here we are a full year later. Cap is no longer playing. He lost his job. That actually gave credence to what he was doing to an extent. So, you know, every time that we say, oh, he should be picked up, I strongly disagree, especially if he actually wants his message to be heard. I'm like, dude, you got nothing but time and people who want to interview you. Get out there and speak your piece. This is the time for you to come up with that action plan, for you to go and talk to your mayor or talk to your police chief or talk to whoever it is you need to while the cameras are rolling and they can't run from you, to say, hey, here's what needs to be different. Here's what I think we can do together to accomplish that. And while I am not disappointed in the players themselves, I am with the owners and I am with the players' actions. And if any of them hear this, my only request, I don't care if you kneel, lay on the ground, whatever, it's your right as an American. But please do something more. Go and talk to your civic leaders. Go write an editorial for your local newspaper. Go on ESPN and just flip the whole interview and talk about what it is that has so gotten under your skin, because that's the only way that anybody's ever going to take this seriously. And I do believe that it is a serious issue, but it's not being taken seriously because, once again, the people who have the most skin in this fight aren't really doing anything to help change it. So please come up with a plan and execute it. That's all I got.
Absolutely. Or as we like to say, neutralize.
Word.
Sounds very good,
Definitely.
sir. Also, I got breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The Minnesota Lynx are the 2017 WNBA champion.
What?
Yes, Maya Moore. I'm actually pretty happy because she's a two-time champion. So, congrats to them. It was a heck of a game. Heck of a game.
Sweet.
But, ladies and gentlemen, we are at Endgame. Tonight's track is by underground artist Gizmo Haru. The track is called Aso Bimasho, from the album Big in Japan 2. Artist that blends Japanese music, hip hop, and Trinidad Tobago music. Pretty sweet. Be sure to check them out on their website, on their SoundCloud, their Facebook account, Twitter, and their YouTube page. As always, follow us at Facebook at Debates Among Friends, on Twitter at Debates Among Friends, on our Instagram account at Debates Among Friends. Follow myself at Kin86, the doc at TL Double, and we are still bidding to get his Twitter account. They'll get there. We still gotta wean him off the whole, carrier pigeon option. Still kind of striving, but
It's so efficient.
Apparently, Chris is trying to get a hit on the pigeon, so he has to actually use technology now. But kind of see how that's going so far.
My tweets have personality.
Hilarious. But ladies and gentlemen, be sure to catch us every single Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, and catch our SoundCloud account. You can offline on iTunes and any other podcast application on your iOS or Android device. Be sure to just debate among friends and debate amongst. And we'll catch you again next time, ladies and gentlemen. Same podcast time. Same podcast channel.
You see that, boss? That's the song we're looking for.
Yeah.
We have the hip hop, we mix a little bit of Trini flavor in there. We get Taro to train some Japanese, and we got a real good song.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Boss, what you doing? How come you're not focused? Yeah, hold up. You talking to that girl again, Jen? Yeah, let me tell you about the shorty that I saw the other day. Walking to the subway, swore she took my breath away. Baby girl was ill, banging decibels right off the chart. Her glance alone gave the score hard a jump start. Round face, arm and eyes glowing. Eternal summer, jet black, long hair flowing. It make me wonder how she fell to earth. Know her worth more than any gem. Reality around of it, yet it's war. She's sweeter than a clementine, so divine. The way she shines, pen to pad, hit my pad and be mine. Be together, me the tree, you the vine. Mind, body, soul combined, let's intertwine. But first, gotta be cool, forget about the thirst. She getting closer, gotta punch in, get to work. Sumimasen, chotto mate, kudasai. Nanka koto nai kedo, anata mecha kawaii. I say facts, I like that. You and me, you and me. O-ne-san, yokattara asobimashou. I say facts, I like that. You and me, you and me. O-ne-san, yokattara asobimashou. Exchange contacts, chatting on the daily. Is she feeling me? 8 ball says maybe. Shoot my shot, let's meet up this weekend. Just us two or bring friends. What are you feeling? Some drinks and sightseeing. What's good? Let me know. I'm new in town. Where's a jumping spot we can go? Show me around. I mean, someplace good you been. If you really keen, you could be my queen. Yeah, she with it. Linking up at 8 is a kaya drink chat. Yakitori on my plate. Then we hit another place. I'm swooning off a charm. She's so calm. It's chilly. She grab my arm. Amazing view as we overlook the city. And the only thing more pretty is you. You're standing with me. Honestly, it's been amazing. I don't want it to end. So tell me when, and let's do it all again. She said, I say facts. I like that. You and me, you and me. O-ne-san, yokattara asobimashou. I say facts. I like that. You and me, you and me. O-ne-san, yokattara asobimashou. I say facts. I like that. You and me, you and me. O-ne-san, yokattara asobimashou. Buzama da na. Ototo, 来やがれ。